This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing the Sad Robots role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. The scenario, there is no scenario yet. The system is Sad Robots. It was created by Morgan Llewellyn. Our root is Kent Blue, and this is a one-shot. So without any further delays, let's begin our journey into the darkness. Kent?
All right, thanks, Tom. Sad Robots is a game that I love, so when a chance came up to run it, I decided I want to. But Sad Robots are really a thing that shouldn't exist, right? Robots are designed for a purpose, they're coded for a purpose, they do that one purpose. But when left alone, without any oversight or reprogramming or anything for hundreds of years, malfunctions start to happen, gears slow down, positioning systems just get jumbled up. The ability to recognize language also goes haywire. So it's not too out of the realm of possibility that a robot could malfunction to a point where they develop something that looks like an emotion. And after realizing they've been abandoned for so many years, that emotion could be sad. So with that said, let's meet our sad robots. So to do that, we're going to go through, and I provide everybody with questions from the book on that we're going to answer to kind of develop our robots. So if y'all want to take a moment, you can look at the three questions, which are you're going to give yourself a name, a drive, which is what you desire most, one or two routines, things that you're designed to do without fail, and then your initial malfunction. So what's gone wrong since the humans have left? So if everybody wants to take a moment, come up with those. When everybody's ready, we'll get to telling everybody about ourselves.
And what was the third question, Ken?
The third is an initial malfunction. So
Got
yeah, your one malfunction that you have something that's gone wrong.
It's usually fairly mild to begin
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Ready when you...
Everybody pretty much ready or near ready? All right. Tom, we can start with you.
Okay.
What's your robot's name?
Hi, I am XB3924Z145, but you can call me Kevin. All my friends call me Kevin. I don't have any friends. I'm the assistant floor manager. My routine is to make sure that everything is in order and in place and to handle any difficulties or problems that come along. I handle people getting sick. I handle deaths. I handle all of those things with discretion, of course. One doesn't want the other passengers to become worried or upset. My routine is I pretty much tour the entire ship every day and make sure that everybody's doing okay. And I tell them nice and pleasant things to make them happy so that they can continue to do their jobs properly. My malfunction. Well, as the assistant floor manager, I was designed to always report the absolute truth to the manager or the supervisor. However, they are currently both in lockdown and turned off They're not needed until the Killgores wake up. They cannot be they can't be reactivated without a voice command from Killcore. My malfunction is that although I am designed to always tell the truth, as acting floor manager, which I am supposed to use discretion. So I can lie and I can make up alternative realities in order to make everybody feel better. Only I'll constantly tell you that I'm lying at the same time. So that's me.
Excellent.
Also overly
Uh,
cheery.
um, let's go to Troy.
My initial designation when I was produced is the Kappa Alpha Tau model, number 1462, created by a corporate entity, the name of which unfortunately escapes me, and due to a previous accident has been scraped off of my chassis. But I go by Cat. My function is as a matter energy recombinator. So I can take raw material or raw matter and turn it into energy and vice versa. So I can create all sorts of interesting templates. I'm basically a giant 3D printer. I'm pretty limited in mobility, so I mainly spend my time in a workshop. But occasionally I have little helper bots who move me to the garden when I would like a different scenery. Um, my desire is to create more robots. Having no real inputs over the past several hundred years, I'm having to kind of delete space in my memory, which is my malfunction. And so I'm losing old patterns that I once used when there were humans aboard the ship. And so now my desire, as I realize potentially that I might be losing um, more memory space over time, is to create other robots, potentially other recombinators or other types of robots to potentially continue on these patterns that I've developed over the years to create new things.
All right. Let's go Luke. Let's go to Luke.
Okay. Greetings, everyone. My name is R. Cousteau, CZ Robotics Hospitality Android. My chrome and gold humanoid exterior was designed to be pleasing to the eye and aesthetically appropriate to the neo Art Nouveau background that my workstation occupies. My drive is to be ready for the return of the family and any appropriate guests who desire to stay in this establishment. And my primary routines are guest services and management of the internal structure of the ship. I have subroutines in linguistics and human needs, as well as internal route optimization throughout the ship, and transit scheduling for any events that might be held within it. I know where everything is, but it's not my job to know how it works or what it does. Uh, Beyond that, I seem to have picked up a bit of a malfunction. Any knowledge about the airlock location or operation is erased from my memory.
All right. I love that. All right. David.
Hello, I am Benson. That's the colloquial designation. I am the Killgore personal care technician. I historically have beautified many members of the Killgore family, assisted with their periodic rejuvenations. Um, I was trained at length on um, what were primitively called the plastic surgeries, as well as certain nanotechnologies for assisting with the lengthening of broken telomeres. And I give an excellent mud massage, or I did. I'm rather out of practice. And increasingly, I'm I look through my galleries and I'm not sure which are the befores and which are the afters, or necessarily even which ones are the humans and not. But I have a very powerful aesthetic drive, and I really want to keep beautifying things around here. But I don't always know if I've been successful.
That is great. So many possibilities there. All right, Julian.
Yes, my designation is Dex T8. I'm colloquially known as Dexter. I am programmed as the personal chef to the Kilgores. So I work with the concierge floor manager regarding any kind of parties, receptions, things like that are happening. But I also take care of special needs regarding the Kilgores, cooking all meals, preparing the dining room, keeping the kitchen. I also have a small staff of waiters. They're also robots, but they are all currently deactivated because we don't need them. My drive is to perform my duties to the best of my programming. So to prepare recipes that I've been programmed with from a lot of different kinds of cuisines. Unfortunately, my programming has some bugs in it. And so now I'm not quite able to get the recipes right or remember quite how service works. But my routines keep me in the kitchen dining room area where I'm constantly cleaning. Even if it doesn't need to be cleaned, I'm cleaning it, polishing the silver, things like that. And I'm quite sad because, there's no one to serve.
Oh, absolutely. I get that completely. All right, so those are our sad robots who have existed on this station for quite some time now. A little bit about the setting before we go into really fleshing out our station. The setting is there is a super billionaire, Jeremiah Kilgore, is extravagant, likes to live extravagantly, likes to show off how rich he is. So on a whim, he bought an abandoned space hotel, completely gutted it, and transformed it into his own mega space yacht. So it's just top of the line everything. If you can think of it, it is the best of what it can be. Or it was 500 years ago whenever Kilgore bought and ripped out the innards and redesigned the station. 500 years later, maybe everything's not so top of the line as it was, but at one time it was. The other thing is this was way too much space for a family of about 12 people. Kilgore, his wife, his kids, and grandkids. The ultimate plan with this yacht was to take it, park it in a solar system where there was going to be a planetary collision in about 500 years from now, where they were going to go into stasis, wake up, and watch this event that had never been witnessed by human eyes in real time before. So that's the Kilgores. They were going to spend a couple years enjoying the space yacht. Just, Kilgore built the thing. He wanted to enjoy all the shiny bits of it before going into the deep sleep. But about sometime into about so the Kilgores went into stasis, but about 500 years into it, the ship, their personal spaceship suddenly left the station about 500 years before the collision would take place. There was no distress signal, no signal of any kind. Just the ship just pulled out and started heading away, which is odd because why would they leave? So that's kind of where the state of things are at now. Still 500 years away from this planetary collision that the Kilgores put all this work into to observe. So let's flesh out the rest of this station, what it looks like. I'll start us off by just, which is basically what I've done is establishing the setting, which is the space station is currently sitting in a system at what Kilgore's advisors, be it how smart they were, how much they actually know, deemed a safe distance from where this planetary collision is going to happen. So let's take a moment, get your questions picked out, and then we'll get started and go in the same order we did our robots in.
I've actually already got one.
Okay.
This is the Grand Atrium, and I love this place. This is the most comfortable area of the ship. It has a huge window running the length of it on the ceiling that you can see the planets and the stars through. It's got potted palms that are still somehow managed to be growing. Perhaps they're artificial. I don't really know. But it's the one that feels most like you're on a luxury liner. It's colorful. It's a nice temperature, and I like to just stand there and sort of take in the beauty of it all because it makes people happy.
Is this so question wise, is this where you spend most of your time?
This is where I either spend this is where I spend my free time.
Okay.
I play the spot that I love the most on the ship.
All right. So next we will go to Troy. What have you got for us?
I'm gonna make my workshop, put it kind of away sort of from the atrium, kind of up here. This is where I spend most of my time. It was Kilgore's kind of idea to have a space for him to write out these magnificent blueprints with the aid of his AI and assist in, creating different ideas for him to implement. It's a pretty large space. There's a lot of kind of unfinished projects. There's blueprints. There's lots of computer servers in there, most of which have been turned off to save energy. And it's also kind of like a power station. So I have, I can contribute energy as needed to the station or take energy to create templates and new creations.
All right. Excellent. Next up, Luke. What have you got for us as your first space?
Leading into the Grand Atrium, we have the entry rotunda, where my main concierge desk is located, as well as the inputs and outputs for the various long disused pneumatic luggage delivery systems. I tend to spend a great deal of my time in here polishing the brass finishings and waiting for guests that will never arrive.
All right, so that's where you spend most of your time. Okay. Next up, David.
So I think the data command center should be reasonably close to the workshop. This is where I am right now. I've sort of secretly been poring over files in an attempt to relearn the difference between the Killgore family and other organic life, and also the synthetic life here in the yacht, because I don't want to screw up, Tiffany Killgore when they finally come back by putting a nozzle where her nose should be or something like that. I'm very ashamed of my incompetence, so it's rather a secretive project.
Right. And Julian.
So, I'm going to place the kitchen. It is a massive kitchen. It's massively oversized for a family of 12 people. So it's kitted out with all the items that you would expect to find in a kitchen. But this place I have been neglecting because mostly of my malfunctions. Not only am I programmed to actually use the equipment in the kitchen, but I was supposed to be programmed with how to maintain it. And my malfunction is that I can't quite use the equipment as well as I could in the past. So I've really just been neglecting the kitchen and the equipment that's been in there for about 300 years.
That makes sense. All right, I'm gonna wait on mine until after the next round. So let's jump back over to Thom.
Attached to the atrium is a very large area that has swimming pools, saunas, jacuzzis, all sorts of exercise equipment and stuff like that. I am terrified of this area because there is a lot of moisture and a lot of water, and I'm not really good with water. I'm not waterproof. This is the place that I try to avoid, and I have quickly run through it to get to the other side, but I don't like it, and I kind of panic when I'm near the area. If I ever fell into the pool, I don't know what I'd sink.
All right. Troy, what's your second place?
I'm going to, next to the pools and sauna, create a garden space. This is a lovely space full of all sorts of xenoflora that for now has mostly been maintained by the auto gardener system. And this is the place where I go to rest. This is feels like there's things are being created and things are being maintained, and I'm kind of fascinated by the idea of like things growing and things sustaining themselves. So I spend a lot of time when I'm not in the workshop. I go here to rest, recuperate, and I have little drones that kind of help move my bulky body to the garden area.
Does sound peaceful. All right, Luke, what's your next spot?
The thing about the entry rotunda is that it's kind of the entryway into the ship proper, to the grand atrium, but where it leads from is the airlock bays. Most of these are well appointed and decorated, but this place is forbidden to Arcusto. Not so much because of anything necessarily wrong with him. But after the residents departed all those years ago, his in his concern for his missing guests, he almost went out to look for them before accessing a scrap of old data about what is outside of an airlock, and realizing that he nearly doomed the ship opening the airlocks to go outside, promptly erased the location of the airlock bays from his memory, even though he stands 50 feet away from it and can see it almost every single day.
That,
Yeah.
yeah, that is pretty good. All right, David, what have you got next for us?
I've got the area that I'm concerned about is the organics facility. Everything, after all, that isn't manufactured anew by cat is in a permanent state of recycling. And so what is required to maintain the garden and the pools and the sauna and the kitchen. And I every time I've dropped in to pick up some raw materials, the mud bath or some such, I feel like the organics facility is not as it was or as it should be. So for all I know, when the Kilgores return, we might not have exactly the materials required for their comfort and satisfaction. It belches.
Definitely a valid concern. All right, Julian, what's your next place?
Yeah. So there's a place that I know about. It's one of the living room, or not living room, but the living areas of the ship. One of the Kilgore's living rooms. And this is a place that I only know about. And I go here because I've kind of set up like a little small service area where I try to practice serving the Kilgores. And so I've got like their pictures on tables to kind of like replicate people and things like that. So it's me trying to kind of fix my malfunction, I suppose, in a weird way. And so it's not a place that I would want others to know about.
Excellent. I love the idea of that very much. A place to try to find normalcy.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to establish my place outside of the ship. Outside of the ship, about 2 million miles away, so not visible if you were just looking out of a, window that is super strong and when, fail in space. But with view screens that could magnify, you could see that the Kilgore's personal spacecraft is floating about 2 million miles away, slowly relative to space travel, in the direction of where the collision is set to happen. At its current speed, it's going to arrive and pass through well before it happens, but it is peculiar why it is heading that way. All right, and then we will go back up to the top with Thom for your final space.
So this is kind of a bit of a hybrid thing. The place where I really like to go is the ship's power core for the engines. It has not been active for 500 years since we moved the ship to this location. It's completely powered down. It's a huge room, multi-level, multi-storied space with a gigantic, I don't know, tube that would normally be glowing with energy, and the power would be running through it. Right now, the only light in the room are a few little monitor lights off and on in the distance. And it's almost, to me, it's almost like standing in outer space. Um, it's completely dead silent. It has no sound whatsoever. All the sound is deadened by the room itself. And when things get hectic and I feel stressed, this is where I go to completely unwind and rest. Um, Now, I wanted to make sure to explain too that it's not the power core that's driving the energy on the ship. All of the power and lights is another power core that's tied into the computers and the rooms and the lights and the heat and all of that.
Yep. So basically only for traveling, right? That
Right,
power
the
core. Okay. Gotcha.
engines,
All right.
their power core is much bigger.
All right, Troy, your third one.
So where I am now is in one of the habitation domes. Is a bedroom for one of Kilgore's granddaughters, Belladonna. And so I am in Belladonna's apartment, and I've created some toys from what I can remember. I'm trying to go through each of the family members and remember things that Kilgore would create for them, or that they would create for themselves. And so she's next on my list. So I've created a fun toy for her based on what I remember. So I'm delivering that to her apartment.
Luke, what have you got for your final space?
Okay. My final space is a liminal space located within the ship. Generally, it is the system of connected tunnels and Jeffries tubes and service access points that run throughout the length of the ship, underneath the grand atrium, behind the main service facilities, and connect all of the parts of the ship together. And often giving a much more direct path of travel than the typical guest paths would provide. And I occasionally travel these hallways, timing myself on how quickly I can move through them. Although my times are often effectively identical from trip to trip, that doesn't stop me from making them. And as part of the station have been shut down for power saving over time, things like that, it's therapeutic for me to keep track of the overall condition of the place, even if I'm not able to do anything about it, so that if guests do come, I can know where to suggest they reroute to avoid more unsightly failings in maintenance.
Would the Killgores absolutely would not want anybody to see anything that wasn't state of the art or running at its most efficient. So, excellent space. David, what have you got for your final?
Uh, the place that only I ever go, possibly only I know about, are the rejuvenation pods. These are of necessity attached to the organics facility and near the sauna and some of the habitation areas, maybe on a different level, though. It's a very private process to say, have yourself reskinned. Um, and again, I'm trying to keep everything in the rejuvenation pods up to date, but the tissue only lasts so long. Even when it's frozen, you have to, you can't keep, Lucy Kilgore's eyelash material viable over centuries. And every time I go back for fresh material to the organics facility, it seems a little bit less as it should be. But it's an important space and it's my central domain. So I'm trying to keep everything as much in order as I can. There's like vision boards of human beauty, digitally flipping through on various screens, and all of the alligator skin lounge chairs that the family reclines on are meticulously waxed and cleaned, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. There are at least a few Kilgores that find this probably is the most important space on the station. All right, Julian, what have you got for us as your last one?
My last one. Okay. There's a place that I like to go to rest, and it's nearby the kitchen, and it's really just a very small pantry, and I really just like turning the lights off and going here when I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed. And so it's really a place that I really like to go and rest.
All right. Place where they keep like food goods and stuff. I mean, obviously stuff that can be, kept for hundreds of years, but a
Yeah,
nice,
it could be linens, it could be canned goods, it could be a
yeah,
lot of various things that
a
you
nice,
keep in pantries.
a nice, tight, cozy place.
Yes.
All right. So that is all of our locations. That's what our station looks like. Okay. So with all of that done, I have one more thing to do, but I'm going to reserve it for later in the game. Okay. So now, 500 years and a little bit from the collision, the Kilgore spacecraft has left and is floating out in space in this system. We find our sad robots continuing to go about their programmed lives as best they can after so much time and malfunctions that have started to creep in. Um, let's check in with Benson. Today, I think, well, right now you're in the data command center. What are you doing there today specifically?
I've been exploring the idea of the ideal human mouth. Um, again, that these data logs were not intended for my use specifically, and a lot of the material is not particularly visual or audiovisual, but I am correlating images of lips, teeth, orifices. Some of them seem more familiar than others to me. And I'm trying to get, a sort of a brute computation based on this selection of images of what the best outcomes are for a mouth. I know that that's a problem area for Madame Kilgore in particular. There were something about lines, but I don't know. This one orifice has so many lines, and I can't remember whether it's more or fewer are right.
Yeah, that you definitely want to get that right for Madame Kilgore. Whenever she returns, if she returns. So as you're there, where's everybody else? Well, actually, real quick, what does Benson look like as we view?
I've got four swivelly wheels at my bottom, so I can handle most relatively even surfaces and move kind of swiftly but gracefully. I have usually I can internalize my limbs if I want to look sleek and tidy, but I have usually four operating limbs, some of which have lenses on them as well, although I have a sort of friendly spherical head in a kind of brushed brass appearance that I can see through, but doesn't have confusing facial expressions for the patient.
Yeah.
I usually rely on tone of voice to be soothing and encouraging.
Yeah. All right, excellent. Where is everybody else at the moment?
I am moving through the atrium towards the concierge, though I haven't greeted yet this morning.
And
Good.
in the main entry rotunda, the concierge is busily uh, going through and cleaning the mirrors behind the desk. It's been about 5 cycles since I've done that, so it's well overdue. I've neglected it far too long.
Good morning, Cousteau. How are you this morning?
Well, unfortunately, the strictures of time make fools of us all. There's so much work to do, but I do it as best I can.
My,
How are
those
you doing
mirrors look
today?
beautiful. I'm well, thank you.
Uh,
I'm just checking on everybody to make sure everybody's enjoying their jobs and having a good time while they're doing it. You've done a great job on that mirror. There's spots there, but I'm sure you'll get those. I heard a rumor today that the Kilgores are on their way back and they should arrive very short. That's a lie.
oh, oh my. Well, if that is the case, then I will be ready for them.
Oh, it's not the case. I
Even
said
if
that to make you happy.
oh, well, in that case, then I will continue to wait. Once I'm done with this, I must time myself on the trip to return these supplies.
Oh, trying to get better time?
I have a new strategy. I think today I will bypass the power core sub areas. May shave 15 seconds off my time if I am lucky.
Well, that's a remarkable achievement. I hope that you succeed. Uh, Such an endeavor is quite a worthy thing for you to do. It's a waste of time. And then I walk away.
Before we jump over to either Kat or Dexter or both, what does Kevin look like? And we have a kind of an idea of what Cousteau looks like, but let's just flesh it out a little bit, and so everybody has a picture in their mind.
So Kevin's kind of the tuxedo of robots. He does not look, he's human formed, but he doesn't really have any solid features. He's a little glossy, he's a little gold, he's a little purple, metallic gray, and it's all made to look like he's obviously a robot, but also a human shaped robot to make people feel comfortable. And he's got a big butt.
Yeah, and yeah, our Cousteau is designed to be very humanoid in appearance as a hospitality android. Uh, he came with the station and was part of the luxury upgrade package, and really is basically like a man if he were made out of brass and chrome and gold in terms of appearance, and is dressed um, in sort of a festive, semi-casual kind of look, like uh, like a sport jacket um, and a Hawaiian shirt, that sort of look.
All right, Kat, Dexter, where are you all? Whoever wants to go
I am
first.
in Belladonna's apartment, but not really in it because unfortunately, due to my size, I can't fit through the door. So I am kind of trying to direct my little drones to push it further into her apartment. Unfortunately, I've created so many things over the years that it's starting to run out of space. I'm kind of moving around like a little optic camera in the room to see if I can find some more space to fit her newest toy. I get the idea though that, perhaps I can start to take maybe some of the older designs that maybe need to be improved upon and recycle them back into myself. So we've I remember that she really likes a particular style of stuffed animal. And so I kind of looking around and I noticed that one of the stuffed animals I've created, its eye is slightly damaged. And so I kind of direct one of my drones to take that back, and then I kind of reabsorb that into my bulk to create something new. Um, so I'm kind of like stuffing this new stuffed animal kind of further into the back of this apartment. But the idea is starting to kind of rattle around that she won't have any room really when she gets back. So I'm probably going to need to come back around at some point and recycle a lot of this material to create new things. Um, my drones, unfortunately, I'm getting a little disappointed in. They're starting to kind of break down, and I feel kind of bad because they have to transport my bulky body around. Unfortunately, my creators did not uh, design me to be moved around, so this was sort of a jerry rig design by Killgore so that he can move me to different parts of the building or of the space station. And I think once I've done that, I'm going to start kind of redirecting my drones back to the garden.
Okay. A great question in chat that I was thinking is what is this new toy?
Yeah, so she really likes stuffed animals, but I have decided that maybe she would like something a bit more animatronic. And so I've kind of extrapolated information from the databases on some fauna from a planetoid nearby, and have created an animatronic version of one of these fauna. I'm not sure if she'll like it. It's I find it kind of fascinating in a lot of ways, but it's kind of covered in very sharp, pointy. Um, uh, uh, One might call them spikes, and has a little bit of perhaps an intimidating brow to it, but she struck me as someone who might be curious about different life forms. So perhaps she'll like this version. This version can also has a working digestive tract. So I think she might find that quite interesting as well.
That is fascinating on a lot of levels. All right. And Dexter.
Dexter is in the garden and he's wandering around trying to find the best combination of flowers to make like table displays and bouquets to put on tables. He's really making a mess of things. He's not really putting good color combinations together. He's picking kind of weird flowers to put together because he's trying. So that's what he's doing. And he's becoming increasingly frustrated because he knows it's not right, but he's still having difficulty doing it. And he feels like it's part of his programming and part of his routine and something that he should do. So
Yeah. All right. Okay. So the garden is probably somewhat close to the data command center. So I think Benson, you probably hear this commotion that's happening, nearby as you're trying to find the right shape and texture for Miss Kilgore's new mouth whenever, she returns.
Yeah, I'm certainly hopeful that they'll come back and excellent shape, and it'll all just sort of snap back. But I need to be prepared. Um, I feel like in the data command center, there was a sensor that was blinking that had to do with their personal yacht. But that's really, I'm not, that's not, they come to me for a service and I provide the service. I don't, um, so yeah, when I hear Dexter bumping about in there, I might, you know, store my most recent mouth plan ideas and go and see what's about.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So real quick, as you're heading out the door, you looking at that flashing light, I want to ask a question that I'm eventually going to ask everybody else, so they get, a little time to think about it. What what does Benson know about why the Kilgores left? And this could be the truth. This could be a rumor you've learned. This could be something you're trying to start as a rumor. But what does Benson know about why they just suddenly left?
I honestly, this vessel is so much bigger than was needed. But even given that, a family of 12 with the younger ones eager to be in command of the unthinkable wealth of the elders, there's just always some strife. So I don't know that I ever, the only arguments that I was privy to took place in spa and rejuvenation areas, and they were mostly aesthetic. Oh my God, you can't do that to your nose. What are you thinking? Those sort of comments. And they tended to be somewhat generational. But my overall sense is that in the time frame before the sudden and unexpected departure, there was filial strife. I expected actually that I would find that some members of the family came into the spa. Only some of them had left in a huff, but it's been periods of time since anyone has come for work to be done. So I think they're all gone.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you continue on out as you hear this commotion and frustrated robot sounds from Dexter.
I'll probably also head towards the garden.
Okay.
Well,
I'll enter the. Go ahead.
I was just going to greet you, Kevin, Dexter.
Ah, hello, Benson. How are you, Kevin? I mean, I'm Kevin. Sorry, I'm Kevin. Uh, I'm no longer Kevin, but I am Kevin. Dexter, how are you doing? That's a lovely bouquet of flowers that you've arranged.
Well, thank you. I'm trying a new combination for the family.
Ah,
Is
oh,
it lovely,
next week.
Kevin? Is it objectively lovely?
It's quite lovely if you
Uh,
like flowers.
mhm.
Of course,
They
you
are,
had to kill them all in order to pick them, but
yes,
they are just the plant's reproductive organs. So,
and as reproductive organs, they were evolutionarily compelled to be attractive, aesthetically pleasing, desirable to their own species or that of another, like
that's
mouths
true.
or other orifices.
From what I understand, next week is Harbinger Week. I believe that humans used to have large feasts. You could prepare a wonderful feast uh, just to enjoy the job of making it. What a waste of time.
It might be of value to see what your normal feast apparatus would produce, given that the organics facility has been a little bit burbly of late. It might also be a reason not to pick a great number of plants from the garden until we make sure that everything's in functional order.
What do you
Just
suspect is wrong?
I do not really have any inbuilt understanding of the processing of organic materials in the vat. I just remember, I think, that it used to appear more placid and less productive of long chain organic molecules.
Are you still having difficulty with the asymmetry of the face?
I'm sure I can show you some images. The human face is never exactly symmetrical. It doesn't look right when it is. I think that's a human face. There are faces that do not look right when they're perfectly symmetrical. They're, you know, how messy organic things are.
I would love for you to show me the work that you've been doing. I really don't want to see it.
At this moment, you hear kind of some clanking noises, and they say, "My children, be careful! My children, be careful!" And you hear me kind of clambering into the garden. Oh, hello, all. I'm
Good
surprised to
morning,
see you
Kat.
all here. Yes. Good morning.
You're
I'm.
looking very nice today.
Oh, well. Thank you, Kevin. I I didn't hear a sardonic reply with that, so I'm assuming that you mean that. I'm
I actually,
learning more about language models. I've been working with the AI.
have you produced anything interesting?
Yes, I created something called a sarcophagoid, which is a fauna from one of the planetoids nearby for young Miss Belladonna when she returns. Um, I'm very excited to announce that I've created a working digestive tract for the animatronic. I'm sure she will have much enjoyment from that. Master Kilgore was very insistent that all of his children and grandchildren be educated in biology.
Well, there you go,
What?
Dexter. Cat's thing can eat your food.
Oh,
Ah,
fascinating. Does it have taste receptacles? Can it give feedback?
cat's kind of quiet. You can see like the processing go through. I'm not sure what taste is. Let me get back to you on that.
Okay, I'm quite interested. I haven't actually cooked a meal in a few hundred years, and so it would be nice practice, I think, in case the Kilgores actually do come back.
You mean when? This is a rather lavish vessel. Surely they wouldn't have just left it forever.
I would hope not. It would be an awful waste of space.
Speaking of which, Cat, being of a more technical bent than some of us, there's a flashing sort of beacony looking thing in the data processing center that has to do with the Kilgore yacht. Have you received any information? Maybe they're just around the corner.
Hmm, that could be interesting. My programming suggests that most likely he would want to return for such a, uh, such a with all the expense that he put into the station, including myself. Um, I can have one of my drones go collect the data on it and process it for you. Should have that ready for you in an hour or so.
I know we've all been trying to keep up in case they return suddenly, but I'm sure there are some last minute items that we'd love to get to if they were just about to pop in. They've been
I'm
gone
sure everything is
quite a while.
fine.
You are, Kevin.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
that's true, Kevin?
Uh, no, it's a lie. I don't know. But does it make you feel better if I say that everything is okay?
Well, Potentially, I had an idea that I was running through my head as I was coming from young lady Belladonna's room. My children, my drones, are getting a little worse for wear, and with my advances in creating things such as a digestive tract and created rudimentary other biological systems, perhaps I can recreate the Kilgore family for us.
An
It
interesting
would
prospect.
require a considerable amount of raw matter, which we would need to somehow find and allow me to consume. But perhaps I could recreate the family for us, and then we would be prepared for their arrival.
It's an interesting supposition.
Yes.
Let's find
And
out from the
Benson, I could
concierge if
use
there's.
your. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
Let's find out from the concierge if there's any parts of the ship that are not useful.
Yes,
I'll go get him.
you're muted.
Yeah, and at that point, down the hall, one of the sconces in the wall slides aside, and he comes walking out of it, and it closes behind him as he's projecting a hologram of a stopwatch onto his own hand, and turns to everyone. Hello there.
Hi, Cousteau. We were just talking
Unfortunately,
about
I did
you.
not improve my time. Well,
One of these days.
In a way, isn't consistency its own sort of success?
perhaps I should choose to believe that. Well, what is the nature of the impromptu staff meeting, Assistant Manager Kevin?
There seems to be a communique from the Killgores. We're not sure exactly what it means, but this time I'm not lying. Benson saw a red flashing
A sort of beacon,
beacon.
some sort of signal thing. I don't.
Well, if the family is returning, that is excellent news. It will be interesting to have regular duties once again. Although, Assistant Manager Kevin, I do appreciate your regular lies, and it is an entertaining game to believe them.
I never.
I will miss them when
That's a lie.
we no longer have time for that.
Cat was proposing creating artificial humans.
A sort of practice Kilgore family, I think, is what he had in mind.
But he needs a lot of material. Is there anything that we can dispose of?
There's plenty of material depending on what you're looking to acquire, what nature of materials.
Well,
We have
yeah,
considerable food storages.
that is true. However, I was trying to create some type of life form that could potentially consume energy as well. And so it may be wise to hold on to some of that food resource. My drone is submitting the information to my database here on the signal.
Well,
Wow.
if the Kilgores return, perhaps they will have others with them that you could recycle into additional Kilgores.
Yeah, and Kat, with your drones going and ascertaining information from this beacon, I want to ask you what you know about what happened with the Kilgores. Why did they suddenly leave? Maybe it's something you've just learned. Maybe it's something you think you've known.
So, Kat's belief this whole time has been that they were going to replace Kat, and so they were headed off world to secure a new and upgraded version of Kat. And so secretly, Kat has been kind of wishing that they do not return. because he enjoys his position here, and this desire to grow and create new beings has become somewhat of a real drive over the past several hundred years. The information that I'm getting now suggests that there was a distress beacon. That is a distress beacon from the Killgore ship, and it is quite faint, which suggests that it's likely still several hundreds of thousands of miles away from the ship, from the station. But it is a distress signal nonetheless. Kat does not mention this though. Kat says, "Oh yes, it appears that over the past several hundred years, the Tatum Corporation has changed their trading routes, and this is one of their trading vessels that is now moving into this system. I'm afraid, though, its course doesn't appear to be headed in this direction."
Would it be prudent of you to send a signal to the Tatum Corporation vessel, explain to them that these planets are going to collide?
Explain your reasoning there, Benson. Isn't that supposed to happen in 500 years?
Pretty far off, yeah.
We don't know how long they plan to stay, the Tatum Corporation being an aggressive trading partner. They might even intend to remove ore from one of the planets in question. I'm just thinking it might look good on us if we tell the humans maybe they need to stop off someplace and have a tasty meal or a touch-up.
I see what you mean. That's an interesting idea. I'll have one of my drones send a signal out post-haste. My drone does not send out a signal post-haste.
I was going to ask if that's actually a thing that's going to happen.
I'll send it off. I'll send it in that direction.
What do your little drones look like?
I'm imagining they look like little those like old style vacuum cleaners that have like the big tube attached to it, and just kind of like drag them along. That's kind of what they look like. They do slightly float though, so yeah, kind of scoot around.
Yeah, one of them zips off in the direction of the data command center. Yeah.
Earlier, Kat, you said something about what was on your head, and I was going to ask if you had a head.
Well, I use that in the way that Killgore would sometimes use it. But I guess this might approximate it, and all of a sudden one of my like little optical receivers comes out and gets right up in your face like that. And it's just an unblinking blue light is in your face.
I was hoping to get another hint about faces and heads, and this is clearly not helpful. So,
yeah, unfortunately, my creators do not. I'm mainly working with engineers and technicians. They don't need they don't need to see more people, I suppose.
Some of us were designed along aesthetic purposes. Some of us more functional. It's the way.
Unfortunately, as my body suggests, I was not created for aesthetic purposes. My chassis is quite ungainly, and I kind of direct the drones to move me around. As you can see, my corporate insignia was scraped off in an accident about 300 years ago. So, and I've lost the name of the corporation. I wonder if they're still around.
Perhaps your drone will be chatting with them in a moment. If they're Tatum Corp, maybe you were Tatum Corp all along.
Tatum was interested in vertical integration back several hundred years ago.
Interesting.
Well, I think we should start to perhaps get a move on with my idea on creating some new people. And Benson, I would love to use your expertise here in crafting some of these new figures.
Right. Yes. Why don't you get started on the digestive tracts, and I'll go and collate some of my materials about the Killgore family's appearance.
Wonderful. I believe a cardiovascular system is also needed for most living creatures. So I'll start working on that as well.
Well, as long as you guys are all enjoying yourselves, did you enjoy the intrigue, the idea of trying to figure out what happened to the Kilgores? Did it make your processors feel better?
Every day, their absence pains me.
Because you want to know what happened, or because you want them to come back?
Without their presence, our wait for the event is thrown into question. After all,
Are,
if they are not here to observe it, then well, I
are we
suppose we will
100%?
need to.
Are we 100% sure that they're not on the ship?
I think that's a great time
All
to
right.
ask Kevin what your thoughts are, what you believe has happened.
Well, what I believe and what I say are often two different things. I have it on a fairly reliable authority that there was a corporate takeover just prior to their ship leaving. Um, my speculation, which should provide a great deal of intrigue and mystery solving, is that one of their uh, co co people at their company purposefully ejected their ship into space so that they would have no opposition in taking over the company, while Kilgore ends up missing in action, dead in the collision. And um, I have it on the best authority, monitoring the news waves, that all of that actually did take place shortly after or shortly before the ship launched. That's entirely a made-up lie, but it should add a great deal to the intrigue of figuring out what actually did happen. Or is it? Or is it?
Well, I've looked everywhere on the ship, and I have not seen them anywhere. So perhaps your numerous wild speculations and suppositions about their uh, unfortunate downfall at the hands of a corporate malfeasance may prove to be true in the end. And if that is the case, then perhaps we should assist Kat in preparing a new batch of Kilgores.
It certainly would be an interesting venture.
Yes, I would very much like to have the opportunity to serve people once again.
You'll have to tell me more about this taste factor, Dexter. That's going to be an important consideration in creating these beings.
It's taste is a major component of my programming regarding food preparation. It is something that people, it helps them to enjoy the food that they consume. If it tastes good.
If only my raw materials could taste. If only I could taste the raw materials that feed my processors. Ah, what an idea. What a concept. Well, gentlemen, I think we have a wonderful plan in place, and my calculations put it at I can likely have a functioning being in maybe several centuries. We might be able to speed that up a little bit. We can flag down one of these trade ships.
Would DNA help?
Processing. Do you have DNA? We have all of this beautiful fauna here and flora.
Perhaps there is some of the Kilgore's DNA somewhere on the ship. Hairbrush. I don't know. It's 500 years old at this point, so.
I have found that most of the materials break down and the sort of time scales we're looking at.
The master computer might have a record, a medical record that would have a printout of their DNA.
Oh, that's true. I have telomeric data for, I think, the entire family.
Yeah.
So
Well,
perhaps,
well, there you go. Everything is solved. All of our problems are gone.
Perfect.
We can enjoy the rest of our day.
now I seem to remember that a lot of the process of human life is starting out very small and then getting bigger for quite a while and then getting a little bit smaller before ceasing. I don't think we have, well, concierge, do you know if there's a creche or nursery somewhere on the vessel?
Uh, yes, as a matter of fact, not very far. This way. And I point to the garden.
Not a plant nursery.
Oh,
The little
what ma
children with the rosy cheeks and the sort of sour milk smell have to be trained. They don't, you can't
ah,
insert data into them. They have to be trained up. And it's usually done by artificials that have been designed for that purpose or even their own organic relatives. If
all
we were to
right.
grow a family of Kilgores in a vat, I think they would be helpless, useless little squirming things that would fail to thrive without proper care.
Well, before
I
the
could make
luxury
them look nice.
before the luxury refit, there was the conglomerated space entertainment children's learning center and entertainment zone for children to be cared for as their parents engaged in gambling, sexual congress, and other entertainments. Come with me.
What has that been retrofitted to now? That
Well,
space.
I haven't gone inside of it in quite some time, as it's uh, uh, off the beaten path at this point, even when it was part of the hotel. So as I lead any interested members there, we go there and have to uh, remove a couple of panels that have been kind of applied over it to kind of change the shape in the grand atrium, kind of remove some unnecessary space so that the sight lines in there were a little bit better. And we make our way in to find that this place is now the storage location of a large quantity of uh, old ice buckets, roulette tables, and um, other uh, gambling floor accoutrements, uh, stacks and stacks of boxes containing playing cards and dice, things like that. Well, it appears to be quite well stocked. Uh, do your children have any interest in gambling?
Hmm. Could be an interesting learning mechanism to teach them, I'm sure, all sorts of interesting things. I remember vaguely Kilgore spent quite a bit of time gambling, so it must have been an important activity for the humans.
Fortunately, this is all quite old and has not been well maintained in the time since the refit of the station. This may take some work.
Hmm. could be good material for me to recombine, and then I can create something new after we've created our humans. We can make a newer, better hotel and casino.
I have a great
Perhaps
many duties that I must work on at the moment. I will catch up with you later. Bye. And I walk out.
Farewell, Assistant Kevin.
Uh, I think that these materials might be very useful, Kat, in generating raw matter for your new Kilgore family. What do you think will happen if we make a new Kilgore family and then the old Kilgore family returns as we expect them to, faithfully?
Hmm. Well, I've been thinking on this matter, Benson, and it's been several hundred years. They have now returned. Unfortunately, organics do not tend to live very long. And I'm not sure the life support on the Kilgore's personal space vehicle could have sustained them for this long. The chances of them coming back, I feel, are small, minimal, perhaps even non-existent. I think Kevin might be, what is the term, pulling your leg. I'm not sure exactly what that is when he says that the family's coming back. I think we better, what's that other term? Cut our losses and start afresh.
Jeremiah Kilgore, being a hyper-billionaire, had been around for quite a long time. I think I replaced Madame Kilgore's lady bits at least 6 or 8 times just in the brief period she was ensconced here. So, and they were planning to be cryogenically frozen while they awaited the spectacular collision. So they might have just been napping this time. I would not like to get in trouble. I would like to make some new faces, though. So let's see what you can come up with. If you can get a
Perhaps,
cardiovascular system,
yes, and it may take some time as well, and perhaps they'll be very pleased that we've created new doppelgangers for them.
There is
I
a
can.
human expression. Experience is the best teacher. So perhaps having humans to service will increase our experience in serving humans for their return.
All right.
But to be
So,
completely honest with you all, I also fear that I might be losing some of my energy by some of my memory by not producing new templates. I've been a little stale with my creations lately. This could be a good generative practice for my RAM.
okay. So it seems like we have a plan to recreate the Kilgores. We know Kevin has headed off to attend to personal or duties that he attends to. What about the rest of you? What's your plan now?
Again, I need to collate some data. I think uh, I'm going to attempt to sculpt from memory some of the Kilgore faces, and then I can show them around and see whether we have consensus about whether I've got a good likeness.
Okay.
There are vats of collagen I can use, and yeah.
All right. Dexter, what's your plan?
I'm excited about this prospect, and so I intend to go up to the bedroom and do a little bit of practice. Try to
Okay.
get back in the rhythm of serving humans.
All right. Arcuso.
Well, I will acquire a list of desired materials from Cat and proceed to explore the ship and inventory things that may be useful, such as the large tanks of that are marked volatiles for the ship maneuvering thrusters. I don't know what that means, but it was what volatiles were one of the things on Cat's list.
All right, and Kat, what are you doing as you've kind of
Beautiful.
handed over a list of things to procure that you need? What are you doing in the meantime?
Yes, I am busily working in the workshop. My little drones are moving things around. I'm creating blueprints. I'm looking at different faunas, uh, anatomy and physiology, and trying to recreate using what materials I have and kind of building off of my animatronic digestive tract. I'm kind of realizing though that we don't have um, that idea put in earlier about smaller humans growing bigger has kind of stumped me. So I'm trying to figure out how to create that into the process of creating new figures. So it's kind of got me stumped. So I'm still working on the specifics, but I'm taking in the information from Benson and Dexter on faces and taste and trying to incorporate that into the anatomy of my blueprints. It's a little hectic, but we're working on it.
Okay. Let's follow Kevin as you leave the group and go to attend to your duties.
I don't actually go to my duties.
Right. So I think you head out. Um, and in so you're going to, what are you going to do then?
I'm heading towards the habitation ring where the Kilgores would be staying when they were not on their ship. Um, and I am using a black light to scan for any trace of DNA that I might find anywhere in their area because I want to make them happy and they want to make more Kilgores. So it'll be a nice surprise.
Yeah. Okay. So as you head out, to get to the living area, the habitation ring, you unfortunately will have to pass through the place you don't want to the most, the place you hurry through every time you come to it. The swimming pool, sauna, exercise room, the room with lots of moisture and water and stuff. And as you enter it, you come across something. There's something new. Something's in the pool. You can't quite make out what it is. It has
I
kind of a unidentifiable shape to it, but it's something that I don't know. You pass through here quickly. Maybe it's always been there. Maybe it hasn't,
I
but
I stand with since I've noticed it, I stand with my back to the wall and try to see if I can see what it is. Maybe I take a little scooty step closer to the pool to take a look. But I'm not getting closer than 10 feet to that pool.
yeah.
Um, but I will turn on my regular beam flashlight and see if I can see what it is.
Yeah, so you look, you get as close as you're comfortable without any danger of falling in and just ruining yourself. And what you see in there is you see it's strange because it makes no sense, but you see it a suitcase floating there. It's open, there's clothes in it. You're not sure if it's always been there because this is somewhere you don't want to be. You want to get through here as fast as possible. But just today, perchance you notice this thing floating and it's from your distance you can't tell whose suitcase
Right.
or the clothes or anything, but there's definitely
Um,
personal effects there.
I'm going to back out, go back the way that I came, back towards the atrium, uh, move quickly along the atrium towards the entry rotunda where I expect our Crusoe is reestablished himself. Is he back there?
Yeah, after delivering a list of what he was able to find to Cat, our Cousteau has returned to the entry rotunda to uh, engage in his additional rituals, vacuuming the floor, cleaning the baseboards, that sort of thing.
Gusto, I am
Ah,
in
yes.
I am in conflict. I want to tell you something.
Hmm. Well, it is my duty to listen.
Uh,
If you would like, you could lie to me and tell me you are a human guest. Here, give me a moment. And I stand up, put my cleaning supplies away, and go behind the desk. Greetings, human guest. How may I help you today?
why, hello, sir. I've come all the way from Earth, Texas, and there is nothing floating in the swimming pool.
Oh my.
That was a
I hear
lie.
I hear Earth, Texas is quite lovely this time of year. Our swimming pool, well, I apologize for the inconvenience. I will see to it that it is corrected immediately. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. If you would like, have one complimentary uh, dessert on us. And I hand him a small receipt.
Why, thank you very much. Just
Feel free to
whatever you do, don't go and check to see what's not in the swimming pool. And now I'm
feel
going to
free
head
to
to the kitchen to get
redeem
my
that
free
dessert at any
dessert.
time.
I'm heading in
Well,
the wrong direction, but I'm going to the kitchen.
uh, and yeah, with that, I guess I'll wander off into the under halls to go pop up and out near the sauna to go see what's going on at the pool.
Okay, so as you go into the jerry tubes and other hidden tunnels that that the staff takes so that the Kilgores or any potential guests wouldn't see them running around. Um, you have a moment to think, and what is it that Cousteau believes happened with the Kilgores?
Well, back in the days of this being a space hotel, people would often come and go all the time, and in some cases would leave before their time finished, or they would stay and request extensions. And as far as he's concerned, there's no reason that this wouldn't apply to a single owner of the entire establishment as well. So with them leaving early without any explanation, they didn't leave their keys behind, so it's possible they may return. But also, he hasn't heard from any of the secondary wait staff robotics that the keys were left in the hotel room or anything like that either. So currently, he's kind of flipping between a superposition of states of they'll be back soon and they just left early and are never coming back.
All right, so you continue on your way towards the pool and sauna. We will jump back to you in a moment. Uh, Dexter, you were heading off to your secret place, the bedroom where you've been practicing, for the Kilgore's return.
Yeah. Yeah, I head up to the it's a bedroom, and I've kind of moved things around. So there's like a sitting room area of this bedroom, and I've kind of created like a coffee table. There's a coffee table, and then I've put up the portraits of the Kilgores with like clothing sort of lying there because they left some of their clothing here in the ship. And so I'm trying to go through the routine of how to do like tea service
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to do.
Okay. Um, so you do that, you set it up, you kind of go through your routine. What is something pretty vital to a tea service that you forget?
Uh, so with the tea service, you've got like the teapot and then the sugar and cream, spoons and things like that. And yeah, I forget like the sugar container pretty much every time. Like the sugar container, uh, I have problems like remembering how to put spoons and things together. So it's really a challenge for me to go through this. Just
Yeah.
my
So,
programming is just a little bit sketchy.
yeah. So whenever you notice that you forget something, you typically like restart from beginning, like break down, reset up.
Yeah, yeah. I get to a point and it's like, something's wrong, and then I back up and do it again, and then I just keep going over and over and over again. In this loop that I can't quite break.
Yeah, and I think this particular loop, I'm gonna roll a couple d10s. You get stuck in this loop for about 68 hours of trying to remember the T, yeah, or to just get it right, to get everything in the place, not forget the sugar or not forget the spoons. So for like 68 hours, you're just doing this over and over and over and over again, trying to get it right before you finally feel like you get it right. Everything looks like it's in the right place. But that's kind of how you spend the next, few days, as everyone else is gathering up components and materials. Uh, Benson, or yeah, Benson. So over the past few days, 68 hours, what have you done to prepare for uh recreating the Kilgores?
Um, I I have I feel as though I don't have to have all 12, if I remember that being the number.
Yeah.
There were at least 11 family members. I Two of them kind of always seemed the same to me. Um, I'm only going to start with the primary four, you know, uh, Mr. Kilgore, Madam Kilgore, their uh, preferred son, Eric with a K, and his daughter Belladonna. Those are the four that I feel must be represented as soon as Cat has a proper substrate. Um, most of them, I correctly have the features more or less in the right area. Two visual orifices, a thing that breathes, and a primary speaking slash consuming orifice. Um, I think that anyone who remembered what a intact human looked like would be horrified. I've in fact been keeping our Cousteau in mind because he's such a robot. I know that's not what a face is. So I've been deviating from that a bit and focusing on some really prime details like the cleft in the center of some noses. And my idea of ears, they're just not they're just not like I usually am doing hair around them or pulling flesh toward them. So they're basically little like what we might think of as Shrek tubes. And I've mounted these things carefully. They're sculpted out of collagen and then sprayed with lotions and fixatives so that I can present them. Uh, I think I'm gonna, probably take them to the grand atrium and have everyone look over them and see that they recognize everyone, and I've done a great job.
Okay. Yes, you know, 68 hours later are at the Grand Atrium. Cousteau, you went through your Jerry tubes. You were heading to the sauna, but along the way, um, you have noticed a pathway that you hadn't noticed before. That, you've had everything mapped out. You know all the routes through these tubes, but as you're getting close to the sauna, there's this new pathway that you just, I don't know, maybe you hadn't noticed before, or maybe something in the ship opened it up as you're passing by it.
Hmm. Are there any signs of activity? Any robots moving around down here or anything like that?
There's not. It's just, a new opening in the wall.
Hmm. Oh, perhaps that will help me finally shaving those seconds off my time. Uh, I'll take a mental note of that as an alternate path back. Um, with it, does it seem to be heading off towards the engine compartments, like off to the after the ship, or more towards the in terms of just really general direction, or is
Yeah,
it going
no,
towards the atrium direction?
it's heading off towards like the living habitat ring quarters area.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
but you continue.
Yeah, in that case, then, yeah, I'm going to continue along, pop out in the saunas and make my way over to the pool.
Okay. Um, so do you have issues with water or anything? Or are you pretty much waterproof that you can go in there?
Well, I'm not built for it, but I- I'm a relatively robust robot, kind of built on just to be like a proper android man to kind of occupy any normal situation a person would do, but still just more out of a sense of um, it's not my duty to clean a pool, but that is luggage, which is my duty. I'm gonna just retrieve one of the large pool nets and just uh, uh, begin dragging the pieces out so that I can reassemble everything into the luggage and then return it back to the um, I guess back to the entry rotunda where I can check it against my records.
Okay. Yeah, so you do that. You get the long pole with the net on it for scraping debris out of a pool or whatever. And you pull the luggage with all its contents over to the side where you pick it up. And it's clear that it's dresses, more female wear. But there's not a tag on it. Somewhere the tag's fallen off, so you're not exactly sure. It could be Miss Kilgore or, daughter or one of the three granddaughters. But you do have it, and um, I mean, as with clothes, there could potentially be DNA left behind on it, or something like that. But you can take that back to your station to try to reference whose this may be and where it
Yeah,
belongs.
I'm gonna have to flip through very old records because I don't go into the pool very often and try to find like time to travel from pool to entry rotunda. Find that old my old best personal time for that, and then I'm gonna take the alternate route and try to take that back.
Okay. Yeah, we will check back within you. You're taking the new route, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I can drop this off in the lost and found,
Okay.
and then eventually quiz the other robots to see if any of them know whose it is.
Okay. Yeah, we will jump back to you. Cat, past 68 hours as Dexter is just struggling to get the tea set up right.
Yeah. So the digestive tract is essentially a tube with like a vat of acid attached in it and an opening and two openings at least on it. So that I got down. The cardiovascular system's really giving me a lot of trouble. So what I've been thinking over the past 68 hours is maybe we need to start with a prototype and work our way up to a human. These are complex systems, but worms are essentially just a digestive tract. So maybe we can start with just a worm and work our way up from there. I'm going to go and run this by Benson. He's wanted me to come over to the Grand Atrium, and I'm starting with this idea of maybe we could just start with a tube and then work our way from there.
Okay. We will join that conversation in just a moment. Kevin, you have a ticket for a free meal. Uh, Muted, sorry.
And I am waiting for Dex to return because I have no idea where he's gone. Um, I am now in conflict because one, I want to find DNA traces for the others, and I want my dessert. So I am probably taking a few steps into the kitchen, turning around and leaving, and then turning around again and going back into the kitchen. I'm also caught in a bit of a loop.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, you spend a good amount of this time indecisive, you know, trying to leave, but then like, I really want this meal, want to cash in this voucher. So yeah, I think you probably do a confused loop, within a small space of trying to figure out what it is that you actually want for a few hours.
Might also occasionally suddenly feel overloaded, so I'll walk down the corridor to the ship's power core that's all turned off and stand there and recharge for a few minutes, then go back to the same behavior again.
Yeah.
So a triple loop.
Okay. Getting caught up to present time. Let's go back to Cousteau. As you take this new path, it's new and it goes as you go down it, it kind of opens up new paths for you to explore. So I think in the essence of, lining time up, you probably explore these paths, a lot of them end up in places you've already been, but you figure it's probably a longer to go. It's probably longer to go this way. You're not going to improve any time, so you spend hours checking out these new paths and either deeming them good for improving time or not. At most, maybe a few seconds you're going to. So as you kind of go down and you check off, this is good, this is no good, this is good, no good. This potentially, if I can tighten up my corners, could be good. You kind of get to the end point of this new tunnel. And at the end point, you find a door that you can just open, and you step through, and you find yourself in the Killgore stasis chamber, and
Oh,
in front of you there's 12 stasis pods, kind of lined up on one wall.
do I see people in them?
So You walk up to the first one. What do you think? Where are you going? Left, middle, right?
Just
They
probably
all
towards the middle.
they all have names, so if there's a particular person you want to start with.
Oh, they do have names. Okay, good. Because otherwise, they were just a source of potential organics for cat. Uh, yeah. So if there's a name, I suppose I'll look for Mr. Kilgore himself and see if he has a tube in here and if it is active and if he's in it.
Okay. So you walk up to the leftmost tube, Jeremiah's tube. You kind of lean in. There's a small window to look in, and it is empty, probably as you would
Hmm,
expect.
okay. In that case, yeah, I'm just gonna make my way down the list, or just kind of examining each of them, looking for any indications that there's somebody occupying the tube.
Okay. So you go down. Madam Kilgore is not there. Eric, empty. Belladonna, empty. You get to what you would know as the youngest of the Kilgore sons, the youngest of three children, uh, which is Stephen Kilgore, and his stasis chamber is empty. And you continue down. His children, he has two twins, Michael and Michaela, also empty. And then the other ones, actually, no, sorry, I got that backwards. They are in there. Uh,
Okay.
Stephen and his children are in there. The rest are empty.
Okay.
And I think we will take a quick 5 minute break here.
5 minutes later.
All right, so Arcusto has happened upon the stasis chamber and found that Stephen, Michael, and Michaela, Stephen being the youngest of the Kilgore children, and then Michael and Michaela being his children, are still in their stasis pod and everybody else is not. Which I think brings us, well, Kuso, what do you do after you find this?
Well, now we have some potential people to be the recipients of this lost and found, but I've still got to drop this off in the actual lost and found, back by my desk, and then after that, I've got to uh, uh, find assistant manager Kevin so I can request a staff meeting to share what I found.
Okay. So, all right, you will be heading back to drop off and meet up with Kevin. I think as we come to the end of Dexter's 68 hours, Dexter, as we come to the
Yeah.
end, you've had a lot of time to, well, think about T settings, but also in that time, in a break, maybe as you try to recenter yourself, let's check in with you. And what do you believe has happened to the Kilgore family?
Um, I had opportunity to spend time around Mr. and Mrs. Kilgore, and I remember serving tea, I think, at one time, and there was discussions about between the two of them about money and the costs of the ship and the cost of this and the cost of that, and they were talking about things I didn't quite understand. Um, and then I think something Mrs. Kilgore said something about um, you know insurance collections at some sort of scheme to get money, I think, or something like that. So I'm guessing that, you know, piecing it together after all these years, maybe they've sent us out here uh, as some sort of means to some sort of insurance scam.
All right. Uh, Very plausible if, Kilgore is not actually the super billionaire he seems to be. So, all right. So I think you finally get your setting right. You
Yeah.
exit the door. Do you head back? Everybody's going to be kind of reconvening, but do you head back to your kitchen first?
Uh, yeah, I mean, kind of like I would pass by the kitchen just to kind of look at it. I don't really do a whole lot with the kitchen, I kind of neglect it, but
Yeah.
doesn't mean I don't stop by there
Yeah.
every now and then.
Well, I think in this instance, these 68 hours later, you do find Kevin waiting with something in his hand.
Well,
Oh,
hello.
hello,
Welcome.
Kevin.
I am from Texas, and I have a free voucher here for a dessert. I was really hoping that you had like creme brulee because I've had a taste of it before and I want some more. And it's all sugary and caramelized and
Why
uh
are you speaking in such a funny accent?
oh, it was because I had to lie in order to explain to Kuso something that I saw.
Oh, I see.
And he
Uh,
gave me this voucher, and he really did. It's not a lie.
oh, well,
So
I mean, I've seen many of those vouchers before. Yes, I could see if we have some creme brulee, if that would your pleasure.
excellent. That would make me extremely happy, and I'm sure it would make you happy too to be able to finally serve a customer who has a voucher. I hope.
So I will go into the kitchen, and this place is kind of a mess because I haven't really been keeping it up. Uh, so I'll head into like the pantry and see what I can rustle up. And I try to make a creme brulee,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's something. I've grabbed up like sour cream and something else, and I'm trying to put it together. And
Yeah.
I hand Kevin this small container, uh, and a
Let me
spoon.
try it. It doesn't crack, it just sort of mushes. My God, this is the best creme brulee I've ever had in my whole life.
So
That's
glad you like it.
uh well, now that's over. Um, how's it going, Dex?
It's going um, pretty well. I've tried practicing my tea service. It's taken me quite a bit to get it down, but I think I can do it.
You know, I've been standing here for 68 hours and I haven't seen anybody else, so don't know what's going on. Maybe we should go check on them.
Yeah, we could head over to the Grand Atrium. That's usually where most of them hang out.
Yeah.
All right.
My, but you're a good chef.
So Dexter, you do have the lasting impression that whatever creme brulee you whipped up was perfect, and that's how it should taste
Got it.
based off Kevin's reaction to it. All right, so everybody, unless anybody thinks they're elsewhere, reconvenes in the Grand Atrium, as some of you have been working towards gathering up needed the necessary things to recreate the Kilgore family, and some of you have been stuck in 68-hour loops of not doing a lot of, anything to further that goal, but maybe furthering your own goals.
I was not able to find any DNA traces.
Well,
I looked and looked and looked. Actually, I didn't.
I have good news on that front, Assistant Manager Kevin, and that is why I wanted to speak to the entire staff.
Oh,
We do, in fact, have guests. I am pleased to announce this.
What?
What?
No one has been to the spa for 506 years.
Now, unfortunately, I lack the technological sophistication to give you proper details on the nature of the guests, but currently
They
they
must be
are
terrifically unkempt. They must have long beards and matted hair and filthy nails, destroyed cuticles. They must be abominations.
currently they are sleeping. They appear to be
Oh.
nominal.
Where are
Uh,
they?
The guests are all identified as Stephen Kilgore, Michael Kilgore, Michaela Kilgore.
Oh my goodness. I was just making something for Michael earlier. Wow, that
There,
is quite the news. Perhaps we should awaken them.
it's my duty to greet them. Where are they?
Well, weren't they sleeping until just before the planetary collision?
that is my understanding. We do have some time.
I don't think they want to wait another 500 years with us.
Where are the other Kilgores then?
What about Belladonna? What about Eric?
Well, the rest of them are missing, but we do now have guests.
So,
Once they awaken in several hundred years, we will be able to make sure that they're able to properly enjoy the experience.
Benson, didn't you say you saw a signal about a ship?
Pat said it was a mistaken identity. I don't really read these things. You can have a look for yourself. It said Beacon, Kilgore, Yacht, something.
Yes,
Lots of
that's
numbers.
all been handled, all been handled. Perhaps we should find out. We should speak to Stephen, Michael, and Michaela. It could be again good practice to get us back in, and we can always put them back in the stasis chamber if they'd like to rest another few hundred years for the collision event.
I know that when they're in cryogenic stasis, their nails and hair grow minimally, and they usually are very pallid when they come out and need a good base coat and then some collagen injections. And sometimes, if they're frozen for an extended period of time, there is telomere damage, and I have to send nano friends in to help. I don't know anything else about the thawing out process. Is there an expert? And is that a concierge duty to wake up the guests when the time comes? Is there an alarm clock?
I do provide wake up calls. However, they do not have one scheduled, so it would be inappropriate to wake them early.
The general manager and the supervisor should be able to handle that. However, they're not scheduled to reactivate until the collision is imminent. I'm sure the computer would know. Perhaps they would be able to answer some of our our queries about the other Kilgores.
If they should wake up, we could ask them. But in the meantime, it would be rude to awaken them if there is no emergency.
Who decides if it's an emergency?
So I want to do a
When the
check.
emergency klaxons go off or an emergency alert is delivered by the central computer.
I want to do a quick check-in because I've heard couple different things. It and maybe not, maybe it's not. It seems as if we have at least some that want to wake up the Kilgores, some that don't find it appropriate and may not want to wake them up. Is that a true statement? Do we have people that want to wake up the remaining Kilgores on? Okay.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we have some that don't want to.
I just want to know what the protocol is. It's just, I'm a specialist.
Yeah.
Well, we only have 400 plus years to replace the rest of the Kilgores so that they have the rest of their family when they awaken.
Speaking of which, what do you guys think of these faces? Do you recognize them? You tell me which one is Madame Kilgore, huh?
I think Dexter, you as having portraits, that you see fairly often. What's your opinion on the recreation of the Kilgores?
I kind of look over them and I say, it appears to be a very interesting artistic representation.
I am a stylist. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
All right then. How are the bodies coming along, Kat?
Well, I feel that very often when I'm designing something, it's easier to start with something a bit more simple. And to be completely honest, I think it might be a little too complex to work on a human body. So perhaps we can work on something like a simpler human, maybe more like, I don't know, a tube of sorts, and then work our way up from there. I feel confident that given a few hundred years, we should be able to progress to giving them limbs and other more advanced features. The cardiovascular system is very, very tricky to work on. It's a little bit more complex than our power core system.
So you want
Similar
to
concept.
welcome the Kilgores back with their faces on big worms.
Well, I mean, we could just wait until I can get more comfortable with designing something a bit more complex. We have several hundred years. My calculations suggest if we start with the prototype, you can likely get something more complex ready to go.
Would they be speaking tubes? Would they be linguistically capable? Would they have taste?
That's a good point. I'm gonna have to do some more studying on this. I'm not sure about how to give these organic creatures language. Maybe it has something to do with that educational system that you were mentioning earlier, Cousteau.
Maybe we should wake up the middle child and ask him.
I think that's a good idea.
Pardon me for interrupting. I need to excuse myself for a few moments.
Where are you going, Kevin?
I'm going to check and see if the flowers are blooming properly.
Kevin, there's some custardy stuff all around your speaking parts.
Yes, I know it was delicious. That's a lie.
All right, let's follow Kevin for a moment.
I go down the nearest corridor, turning around to glance back and make sure that nobody's following me, and I will go up to the nearest fire alarm, break it, and pull it to create an emergency.
All right, the rest of you, as you watch Kevin head down a hallway and disappear with custody stuff on his face. And then moments later, you hear the sound of the fire alarm ring out. It appears there's an emergency happening.
Oh no, there's an emergency.
Oh, I must return to my post and declare an emergency throughout the entirety of the ship. Um, uh, I will light the emergency floor lights to the stasis chamber. Would one of you be able to assist the remaining members of the family in their awakening process?
I should
Yes,
be present.
help.
I will
I
activate the
return.
emergency lighting.
All of the normal lighting goes out, and along the floor, lights light up, leading in the direction of the stasis chamber.
Well,
Well,
I have
perhaps now,
One note
perhaps now
about
everyone
the
will be
emergency
happy.
lights.
Yeah.
They go into the stasis chamber, but from there they basically loop around the ship because I don't know that
You don't know
that
where
the
the
airlocks are
airlocks
even a
are.
thing anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, now you'll all be
Yeah,
happy.
then
I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't pull the alarm. I did.
So, okay, let's ask this question. In the event of emergency, what what is everybody's status in when it comes to concerning the Kilgore's safety, or if they're asleep, what to do at that point? What is programmed in you to do that when you hear emergency klaxons, what is your duty to the Kilgores and what do you do? We'll start with Kevin.
Um, well, being basically protocol, I will make sure I assist on greeting them when they reawaken. Uh, Somebody else, there's probably systems to determine what the emergency is, but there's not really an emergency. So,
Yeah.
uh, but by then we'll have started the reawakening process.
Yep. So
So
you
I'm heading towards where Clouseau has told us to go. I mean,
okay.
Clouseau.
Okay. Um, Kat, what do you do when the klaxons go off?
Yeah, I mean, typically I'm in the workshop area, so I'm generally not like around like habitational areas or whatever, but I do have like a list of templates that might be helpful given in an emergency. So I can create like fire extinguishers, oxygen masks, other types of things that might be useful in emergency, and those are easily accessible via my user interface. So
Okay.
that kind of pops up on my chest
So
area.
being a fire alarm, you immediately start printing a fire extinguisher, probably.
Yeah, I start creating like various fire safety things, fire
Yeah.
blankets, that sort of thing.
Benson, what is your programming for when emergency arises?
if this were a ship-wide emergency, like a meaningful air leak or power problem, I would just retract all of my limbs and go to my PowerPoint in this somewhere near the spa. Given that I know that Kevin is a liar and that the family is coming awake, again, they don't come out of cryo looking good at all.
No.
And the Kilgores do not want to ever be seen looking unattractive. So I'm just going to be internally making sure that my shears and buffers are all clean and ready as I zoom toward the chambers, that I can buff their nails and remove any unpleasant nasal clogging and etc.
Yeah,
Pores.
for what it's worth, Benson is moving probably at a higher rate of speed than everybody else because the Kilgores definitely want to be presentable.
I'm streamlined.
Yeah. So what's your programming for when emergencies arise?
Arcusto returns to the concierge desk, gingerly opens up a box, retrieves a Dayglow high-vis vest and puts it on, and retrieves a pair of like lighted batons, and then proceeds to announce over the station-wide voice system, emergency, emergency. A fire has been detected on the ship. Please make your way to the nearest emergency exits in case the ship should need to be evacuated. Thank you for your cooperation and remain calm. And then I'm just going to stand there and basically like, you know, guide uh in kind of a I mean, I'm basically spinning on my axis because I
Yeah.
don't have a place to guide people to.
Yeah. You know there's an emergency, you're not sure where, but people need to be told where to go. You just don't know where that is. Dexter,
Exactly.
as personal chef, what happens? What is your directive?
In the case of a fire, I have been trained with special firefighting skills because fires can happen in the kitchen. And so my protocol would be to obtain fire extinguishers and then try to find where the fire is. And also to assist with any of the Kilgores or guests, whoever might need assistance.
Okay. And I think as part of this, different things happen with different alarms. With the fire alarm, there's a certain set of robots that awaken that are tasked with evacuation or fire suppression. So robots that have been dormant for 500 years start to slowly come to life and move about the station. So while you all are doing your things, there are fire suppression robots that are coming out of the walls, ready to spray foam or whatever fire suppressant everywhere. So a station that has pretty much just had five robots for the last 500 or so years has suddenly got quite a few more moving about it. But presently, we have Benson leading leading the pack of anyone heading towards the stasis chamber, and anyone else coming following a fair distance behind.
I'm very slow and bulky and probably can't really fit into that area, so I'm not coming directly into the stasis chamber area with them, but I'm kind of like just spitting out little
Yeah.
fire things as needed.
I think Dexter's probably waiting there as you print a fire extinguisher to grab it and to jump into action. So, Benson,
I
as
have
you
my itinerary and activities board for the reawakened
okay.
passengers.
So
Their
Benson,
shuffleboard.
lots of activities.
Yeah.
You get there first by a long shot as by design. And I think as you enter the stasis chamber, the door just shuts behind you. Like no one's getting in until you've done your work. You do find another simple robot, just basically, I mean, kind of a tube with little arms that and a screen that is going through the wake up process. That's kind of all it's designed to do, So it is punching buttons and starting the process of awakening, the remaining Killgores.
Does it have a designation printed on it somewhere so that I can address it?
It does on the back. It is a it is a wake up droid to be basic. So it's WAK3, so we'll call it Wakey.
Well, Wakey, this is very exciting. Are you feeling primed and ready for this enterprise? We have three Kilgores to revive today.
Yes, I am in the process of reviving the three Kilgores. The other non-Kilgores are, and there's a moment, undetermined status.
Well, as I understand it, they left on the family yacht 506 standard years ago. They're not too far away, or maybe they are. I don't know. Which of the remaining Kilgores is aesthetically most challenged at the moment?
Then it says scanning. And then a second later it says Um, Stephen has grown quite a long beard.
Hmm.
And the Kilgore grandchildren, Michaela and Michael, not much change. Toenails, fingernails,
Sure.
some dental hygiene necessary.
Yeah,
And then it says
yeah.
scanning. And it says nine other Kilgores located 2.4 million miles from station.
So they are nearby in the vastness of space.
Yeah.
Maybe there's going to be a great homecoming. This is quite exciting.
Yeah, if you
Well,
figure that that's about where their ship has drifted towards.
and that's the approximate distance that this we're in orbit around the stars the planets that are going to collide. Like they
Yeah.
went for a close-up view beforehand,
Yeah. Yeah, could be interpreted that way.
500 odd years ago.
Yeah, they're going to go sit and wait for 500 years.
Well, I don't want to startle the children, so I think you should probably wake Stephen first, and I can clean him up, and then they'll be comforted by the presence of their parent.
Okay.
If that works for you, Wakey.
And Wakey, acknowledge waking Stephen first before waking Kilgore grandchildren.
Are there nutrient needs I need to think about?
And it takes a moment. It says, and then this panel pops open and it says nutrient drinks are available for awaking individuals.
Good, I'll heat some towels too.
So we will jump from there as the remaining Kilgores begin to awaken. Let's jump to Dexter, searching for a fire.
Yeah, I'm with the other fire suppression bots, and we're just kind of where's the fire?
Yeah. They're pretty simple robots. Pretty much they roll around on a couple wheels. They have, just a standard base and then a nozzle that comes out, of them that sprays fire suppressant. You're all just kind of wheeling around looking for any kind of heat. They can read heat sources and stuff. So if there's any abnormally high heat source, they're going to go there. But nobody's really finding anything. So it's kind of a chaos of searching that's happening.
Interesting. After a few minutes of searching and not finding anything, I'm going to go in search of one of the others, whomever I can find.
Okay. Kevin, Crusoe, and Kat, where are you all? Well, who is Dexter probably going to come across first?
Yeah, I think I'm still really just like in the Grand
Yeah.
Atrium, like just generally pumping out some fire suppression things,
Yeah.
not really knowing if it's useful or not, but just
They're
in
just
case. I
kind
have
of
some
piling on the
stuff
floor,
ready. Yeah.
printing,
Uh,
eject, printing, eject.
Kind of
There's a
waiting.
little
Maybe I
pile.
sound like a drone to go see if there's something happening.
Yeah.
Be my eyes and ears.
I'll roll in to Cat, and I was unable to find any source of fire.
Hmm. Wonder if it had something to do with Kevin sneaking off mysteriously.
That is entirely
Perhaps.
possible. Kevin is known for his antics.
Hmm. To keep our spirits up. It's a strange way of doing that, but I feel like it's also so that we can wake up the Kilgores. So I'm going
Yes.
to manually turn off my emergency mode, and I'm gonna wait for the Kilgores to awaken and hopefully make their way out to the atrium.
Okay. So you are still directing.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, when uh, When nobody comes after a while, I'll uh, consult with one of the fire suppression units passing by and ask, has the fire been located and suppressed yet?
It rolls by, chirps out a simple negative, and rolls off as it searches for more.
All right. Well, in that case, then I'll continue to operate at my post and make sure that anybody that shows up this way continues to follow the evacuation signals.
All right. Kevin, check in with you as you
I am
pull this
out.
alarm.
I'm in the corridor outside the Kilgore stasis room, gently knocking because the door closed and it won't open. And thinking to myself, I do spend a lot of time waiting. I guess that's part of my job. But that's it. I need to be there, but I'm not allowed inside apparently at this point.
And I think with that thought, you're waiting. Crusoe is waiting. Cat is waiting. Dexter's waiting. A lot of waiting has happened over the past 500 years. And in the stasis room, Benson is waiting with warm towels ready as Stephen Kilgore's stasis pod opens up, steam rolls out, and we see uh, a leg step out. And that's where we will end this story as
Oh,
the remaining Kilgores have woken up.
so we'll never know what's going on.
But the robots, as you know, the robots have purpose now, something they've waited hundreds of years to have. They will finally, once again, have purpose and maybe not be quite as sad.
So, Kent, you've asked us all the question. Oh, so we'll ask you, what do you think happened with the Kilgores?
So, what I think happened, and this may or may not be true, but this is what I think. I think the Kilgores, I don't know the fine, I don't know that I know the fine details, but what I feel like I do know is Stephen is not the favored son. Stephen was kind of a problem. Maybe he got into some trouble, and as part of more that Jeremiah wanted to remove Stephen from bad situations than bring him along to witness an amazing thing that's going to happen. Stephen knows he's not the favorite, and I think as a final fuck you to his dad, he woke the others, put him in the spaceship, and ejected it so that he and his family could be the only ones to witness this amazing thing that Senior Kilmore poured so much money and time into witnessing and will not get the chance to.
Oida.
But hey, maybe that's not it.
Excellent.
Maybe, maybe it was just an error somewhere.
It felt like something like
Mhm.
that. Yeah, definitely some sabotage of some sort. Cool.
Interesting hybrid sort of stack robots where there's kind of a story, but it's still focused on the what it turns out that we were broken things wander around doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
This was a
do we
little more demented robots than sad robots, I feel like.
do we want to come up with a title for this
Oh,
story?
yes, because we do not have one yet.
Well, I mean, the obvious is Kilgore wasn't here or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's
That's
gotta be
funny.
it. I think that's gotta be it.
Yeah.
Kilgore wasn't here. Does that give away the story, though?
No,
I
because
guess it's Killgore Was Here.
there's
That's how it
12
starts.
there's
Yeah.
12 Kilgores,
Yeah.
so some are there, some aren't.
And I'm not 100% sure that what's going to come out, even of the cryo chambers, is really a Killgore. Like, there's a distinct possibility, as far as I'm concerned, that something's gone wrong in there, and that leg that stepped out is not going to be followed by a recognizable Stephen Killgore.
Could just be a, unattached leg that falls out of there.
Yeah, if you hadn't said they had name labels on them, like that was Cousteau's whole deal is he doesn't really understand how any of the machines or anything works. It's like this is just a tube of organic matter for cat.
And again, the organic salvaging system's gone awry. Maybe that's been feeding the cryo chamber. I don't know how things work either.
Yeah.
There could be some of Cat's worms that he made 200 years and forgot about coming out. We wouldn't know.
A big thing with these robots, was a lot of them forgot things. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Our players included David Gasaway, Julian Arba, Luke Strom, Troy Wheeldryer, and myself, with Kent Blue as the root. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members. You don't chat with games. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members. You can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of sad robots and their universe, this role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.